Mr. Chairman, I am pleased to recognize the sponsor of this piece of legislation, senior member of our committee, as well as someone who knows more about this issue than probably anyone else on the floor, the gentleman from Alaska, Mr. Young, for 5 minutes.
Gentleman from Alaska is recognized.
As one that sponsored this bill way back 1975 and became law in 1976, it's probably the most successful legislation ever passed this House to create a sustainable yield of fisheries for the United States of America. And to have someone try to hijack this legislation by interest groups when all those involved, the fishermen, the recreational, the commercial, the restaurants, the conservationists that know fisheries, the state of Alaska and all other states support the Magnuson Act and the improvements we made in this bill. Yes, we have some flexibility. The bill would amend the Magnuson-Stevens Fisheries Conservation Act, the premier law, as I mentioned before. It allows for regional corporate management of fisheries. The law gives guidance to its national standards and creates a process that allows the council to develop fishery management plans. The council provided a regional and constituent-based approach. Remember, this is not about the government. This bill was written by this Congress for the people, not NOAA, not NIMS, not the State Department, not the Sierra Club, not the Pew Group. It was written for fishermen, for sustainable yield of fish for the communities. It provides a regional concept. It's critical for the protection of coastal economies and for allowing stakeholders to be part of the management of fisheries. To address the ever-changing needs of fisheries and fishing in communities, remember, I've been through this thing 4 times, from the original until today. The Congress has passed various amendments to this act. Changes are based on the knowledge of times, gained through experience, improvements in science, and better management techniques. In the mid-1990s, Congress addressed overfishing, included protection of habitat, improvement of fishery science, and reduction in bycatch. There were issues of the time, and they were addressed as needed. A factor of that time also included the lack of resources to fund stock assessment to provide needed data to the regional fisheries management councils, something that continues to this day. A lot of decisions were made without science. The Act was last amended in 2007. Congress included measures to set science-based annual catch limits to prevent overfishing, including a requirement to end overfishing within 2 years. Accountability measures were adopted, which meant harvest reduction. If harvest levels were exceeded, according to the National Marine Fisheries Service, we now reached the point where overfishing has ended in this country. H.R. 1335 started being developed 4 years ago. The committee held over a dozen hearings with testimony from over 100 witnesses. As with past reauthorization, in line with the main purpose of the Act to balance conservation with economic use of the resource. And H.R. 1335 follows the middle road. While many today may complain the bill's flexibility rolls back to scientific protections, that's not accurate. The flexibility of the bill is based on science. Rebuilding of fish stocks will be based on the biology of the fish stock. Harvest levels will still be based on science, and at levels where overfishing will not occur. The regional councils will continue to follow recommendations of their science and statistical committees. During every reauthorization cycle, the Magnuson-Stevens Act is updated to be closely in sync with current-day science, management techniques, and knowledge. As the fishermen communities, the councils, and fishery managers develop better techniques and learn lessons from implementing the law, Congress can take that knowledge to improve that law. Flexibility is the cornerstone of the law. The Magnuson-Stevens Act promotes regional flexibility recognition, differing ocean conditions, variations of regional fisheries, different harvesting methods and management techniques. Distinct community it impacts. And again, I want to stress this, Mr. Chairman. This bill was written for fish and communities, not all these other interest groups. As I said in the Rules Committee, I will not stand by and watch other interest groups hijack this piece of legislation, taking away the sustainable concept of our fisheries and the healthy concept of our fisheries and the healthy concept of our communities for other reasons and other causes. If you want to do that, do an independent legislation. We don't need any ocean antiquity acts. We don't need any additional antiquity acts. We don't need any sanctuaries in this bill. We don't need some outside groups telling the fishermen, the communities, and the scientists. It is our belief, when they know little about it, I happen to have the largest coastlines in the whole of the United States all put together. And we've done the job we should be able to do. This bill makes this job easier for the United States of America, for giving us the ability to have a sustainable yield of fish and the communities to be taken care of. And with that, I strongly urge the passage of this legislation. Yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman from Alaska yields back.